3, 2, 1. Welcome, folks, to Tuesday at 7. We are live and back face-to-face with Mike Grau and his studio here in North Royalton. And we're going to talk in depth about what he does, maybe his journey to where he's at now, some of the other mediums he works with. Mike works with in 2-dimension, 3-dimension, works with glass, and it seems like some other things in between.
Trying to stay busy every day, that's all.
Yeah, but for those folks who have joined us in the past, we just kind of banter for a few minutes, and then we start to talk at 7 o'clock with the interview. But those who share video will have an opportunity to win some of a piece of Mike's work, and we'll share that here after people start to sign on. I see Beth is behind the camera tonight, and she is sharing to a few spaces. She's sharing to Tuesday at 7, and she shares it in many different areas. But we hope you guys are doing well, and we have a giveaway which we'll do straight up at 7 o'clock. But we're at your studio, and if people drive by, we're at Bennett Road and 82-ish.
Yeah, Bennett and 82, just south of the police station here, right in the center of town.
And it's Tazza, Tazza.
Yes,
Glass.
Correct. Tazza Glass.
Is there what's the relevance of that name?
Well, a lot of our vernacular and glassblowing terms come from Italian, Venetian, and Tazza is the Italian word for a bowl. And in glassblowing, bowls like this are quite tough to make. To get that nice rounded curve to a bowl, it requires a lot of gentle heating, and you got to pay attention to what you're doing, because if you spin too fast, it'll flare out and want to become a plate. But this would be considered a tazza. It's a bowl, and that comes from the Italian. A lot of our tools have Italian names that we use, and that's just something that stuck with me, and something I spent a lot of time learning, focusing on, and trying to perfect that bowl shape, which is quite a challenging one to do in glassblowing.
In glassblowing, so
yeah.
There's that beginning, and after we're back, we'll probably go back over that name, because that's a great story.
Yeah.
Inspiration.
A lot of the tools, like I said, that we use still retain their Italian names, and that's what we call them even here in America. And it's the Venetians who pioneered and brought their expertise to glassblowing, and they kept all their secrets there for many years. And it wasn't until recently, in the 70s or so, that glassblowing, sprouted up here in America, and then they brought all their secrets over here and shared with us, and we still retain a lot of the old traditions.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. So I imagine people are signing on. We like to be pretty punctual. Well, we're live, and it's before 7. We are just at the beginning of kind of reopening of stores and restaurants. We've been shut down here for the COVID-19 virus for 8 or 9 weeks, 8, 9-ish, 10-ish weeks. So we're just reopening slowly. And as a matter of fact, we were scheduled to meet here a couple months ago, and it was that last minute cancellation for the coronavirus. If you're watching this at some point in the future, it's 2020. And it's the end of May in 2020. So in terms of putting a date stamp on it, that's where we're at. Last week we did something really outside the box, I think. But what I did is I got in special effects makeup, and I did a couple quick poses, and there was a lot of portrait artists and illustrators and artists of all kinds of different photographers and artists of different persuasions and mediums jumped in and did some illustration of that character. And we had drawings images posted from Julia Michelle, not Michelle Julia, Sarah Lane, Matt Seal, Bob Pauly did pencils and oils of those poses. Juan, Timos, Olga, Carol Young, May Peng from Singapore, Tim Herron, Suzette Cohen, Jim Vancourt, Janet Dodrill, John Skevnicki. And so we have a number of names, and what we're giving away this week was going to be 2 autographed copies of Tap Dance Killer, which is...
Did you put Matt's name?
Yeah, Matt's in there. Did I not say Matt?
I don't know.
Yeah,
That's why I was asking.
yeah. Matt's in the drawing, and he submitted as well. But it was awesome to see what people came up with, because there was a lot of invention there, which was the hope.
It was great work.
Yeah. So we're going to go ahead and draw a name out. Just. Who do we got there?
Bob Pauly.
Bob Pauly.
Bob is watching right now too. Congratulations.
Congratulations. Bob, you're in here. We'll get your address, and we'll go ahead and send these 2 copies of Tap Dance Killer. Again, this is a local artist. These are comics that are...
Even a guy in Cincinnati will appreciate these comics from Northeast Ohio.
Absolutely. So Bob, thanks to you too, Mike. But we're gonna jump in and learn a little bit about what you do. But I always ask a question. It's not sometimes an unexpected question, but it's just a question to get the conversation started. And my question is this, and that is, do you believe that artists have to suffer for their craft or their art?
Suffer financially to pay their dues and eventually make it, or suffer emotionally to give them food to create and express themselves.
Either
one,
or both, perhaps. What's your thought?
I think the latter, that you may have to have something inside. I mean, nobody makes music and art without having something that they want to say inside, and whether that's being a tortured soul or some sort of I don't know, emotional distress, or just want to you want people to know who you are and what you believe. I don't know, it's different for everybody, but I do believe you have to have something in you that wants to be expressed and brought out. And everybody, it's different. They have different media and different ways of expression. I don't know. That's different for everybody, but I think there has to be something there.
You have to suffer for your art, and perhaps celebrate with it at times too.
Yeah, yes and no. I mean, sometimes the suffering is part of the process. Some things are just so darn challenging, or you want to get better and better, but the attraction of it is that it eludes you, the mastery of the skills. So you drive yourself to keep pushing and trying to learn new things, and that's also part of the drive. And that is torturous as well. To want to have skills and just fall short of that, and keep pursuing and continuing to go after it. Even though it eludes you. It's always maybe just outside of our grasp, and that's what keeps us going. So for those folks who share tonight, we're going to have a drawing next week. Okay. And at that drawing, they'll have the chance to win a piece of your artwork. What, you have that there? Yes, it's one of my teardropped ornaments with my most popular rainbow-colored pattern. You probably can't see it unless it's behind something that's white, because it's a transparent ornament, so it won't let light through if you have a black backdrop. But there you go.
Looks good.
So everybody who shares will have the opportunity, and then we'll mail that out the following week. And but I always like to go kind of back to the beginning. So, and I don't know what the beginning is for you. It may be childhood, it may be grade school or middle school or even high school. At what point did you realize, or perhaps did your family realize, that Mike is got this creative streak, and he may be that maybe the artist, or open up a glass shop at some point in his life, or an art studio.
Never saw it coming, to be honest with you.
Okay.
It was in college for me, actually. That's where I took my turn into the world of arts. I mean, as a child, I always was intrigued by it, and I appreciated it. I remember my brother just doing silly drawings of things, and just being in awe of it. And I wasn't always that creative or talented or had the patience for it. I mean, I took a couple art classes in high school, not a whole lot, nothing that really got me interested, to take the full dive into art. But it wasn't until my college days. I was 2 years into college at Bowling Green, BGSU, and I had all my prerequisites taken care of, and I didn't have a major, and I had to decide
what are you going to do?
Yeah, I had to pick something, and I don't really know exactly what it was that said, yeah, let's try and be an artist, but I just remember being in my apartment, and I had some comic books actually that I was looking at, and just started drawing hands, drawing faces, drawing people. And when the fall semester came around, I decided, hey, let's inquire about the art program here, take some classes, and see where that leads. So yeah, that's kind of where things started for me. I had to pick something, and
and art was it?
Art was it, yeah. Yeah, it's a long journey, trust me. Even though I came to it kind of late, in college, but once I decided that, I was kind of all in. And I think that's the way you have to be if you want to be an artist. I hate giving that advice to people, because a lot of people say you should have something to fall back on, or learn something else just in case. But if you really want to make it, I believe that you have to be all in. You have to be all about it, and dedicate every moment you have to creating or looking for things that can help you in the creative process. And
well, the whole begin that journey in college is a great story. How important do you think it was to have that training, the formal training at Bowling Green?
Well, with glassblowing, it was absolutely 100% important. With maybe two-dimensional art, drawing and painting, it wouldn't be as important nowadays, because you can learn a lot of that online. And we didn't have that back then.
Oh yeah.
It was just starting. It was the late '90s. The internet was starting, so we didn't have YouTube videos on how to do everything. But for glassblowing, I had no idea what it was when I took that first class. I had no idea how things were made. It was part of the prerequisites for getting a degree in arts. You take, ceramics, sculpture, photography, printmaking, and they had glassblowing at Bowling Green. So I'm like, okay, let's try this. And like I said, I had no idea what it was when I took that class, and I was hooked after one semester. That was all I wanted to do. I was in printmaking before then, because I like to draw, and I thought that making multiples of your work would be a good way to financially, make it as an artist. But after about a year of that, I took the glassblowing, and that was it. I was straight glass, semester after semester after semester.
Do you think that was it immediately? Was it the science even more, just the chemistry of it along with the art of it that drew you?
There was two things. It was the physical part of it, the coordination, and it wasn't just thinking and sitting there and drawing or painting. You were actually moving around, and you had to be coordinated, and it was just something that doesn't come everybody right away, and it's something that you want to build your skills with, so you want to get back in there and try it again and try it again, and it just became an addiction. And the second thing was also with glass blowing, you work with other people. Unlike other arts where you work by yourself,
Yep.
Glass blowing you need to work with an assistant or in teams sometimes, and that's how they started us off. They pair us off and work in teams because you can't do everything yourself.
Yeah.
You have to open and close doors. Sometimes color applications require an extra pair of hands, and you just cannot do all that. Technically, you can't do it by yourself. So that was another part of the experience, and maybe just the darn good luck of being around a bunch of nice people that were equally as enjoyed the process just as much and were eager to jump in and help you out, and just being there at the right place at the right time with a good group of people, and it became an addiction.
That's the social aspect of it is interesting. I wouldn't have thought about that, but it makes sense, and it's true that most, you have to go and say, okay, like the portrait group that we work with, they're all very, very specific about getting together and doing the portraits together, because otherwise you're up in your attic studio, lonely and in the dark corner, and
at this time with this COVID isolation, we all know what it's like to be alone, and we don't really like it so much. That's a great story. But we're in. So for those folks who have joined, we encourage you to share, and if you share, your name goes into a drawing next week to win a piece of Mike's work. But we're also in your studio, as well as feels like gallery plus a retail shop here, and it's named Tazza Glass, and probably most of the people joined after you talked about the inspiration behind the name. So if you go back into Tazza Glass and the reason why.
Tazza is an Italian word. It's the name of my studio, but it's also the Italian word for a bowl shape. And in glass blowing, bowls are kind of a tricky thing to make, and it's just something I spent a lot of time, practicing and learning to gain my skills as a glass blower by making bowls. And it's, I don't know, just kind of a pleasant name, and it just kind of stuck, and that became my studio name. And once again, this is what a Tazza would be considered. Just a shallow, gentle curving bowl.
And I would imagine to work with the glass in such a wide takes a lot of time, effort, and patience.
Glass. Well, when you say time, it's relative, I guess, because with glass blowing, it's unique in that once you start something, you cannot stop or set it aside and come back to it later. It all has to be done at once. It all has to be kept moving constantly. It has to be kept hot and moving. And with those criteria, you actually make quite a bit of stuff rather quickly, because you can't work on pieces for hours. It's not really that feasible to do that. So nothing in my studio takes more than maybe an hour or so to make. When I tell people that, they're always shocked, like, whoa, that's really quick. But like I said, you can't set it aside and come back to it later. It has to be kept hot constantly. It has to be kept moving, kept turning. And with larger work, that takes a strain on your muscles as well. And it's kind of a blessing and a curse that you can't go back and change things and fix them. And once it's done, it's done. That's it. A lot of people come to me wanting to know if I can fix stuff or change things, and I got to make a new piece. It's more efficient to do that, and it's the only way you can do it, to be honest with you.
How many years would you say it took for you to feel comfortable making a Tazza bowl? I'm talking about how many years of blowing and working did you feel comfortable? It was
probably 2-3 years, and that's semester after semester. Summer semester of glass blowing at college, and then time on my own at my own shop when I first started. So like I said, it does not come to anybody right away, because you're doing one thing with one hand, one thing with the other. It's multitasking, it's muscle memory, And when I give lessons to people, that's a struggle because nobody's used to turning the glass, keeping it moving while they're using the tools, and it just takes time. It doesn't come to anybody quickly, and it just takes a few years to really develop that skill to move the glass without really thinking about it.
Yeah, you were saying that Tazza is an Italian name, right? And that a lot of what you do and a lot of the glass work is comes from Italy, including names of tools and stuff. What's the story behind that?
Tools, techniques.
Why Italy?
You're asking the wrong person. No. Well, I mean, glass blowing has been done in many forms, throughout the world for a very long time, and it was just the Italians that really perfected, blowing really thin, delicate, ornate stuff. I don't really know exactly why it popped up there. I mean, the island of Murano, I guess, is surrounded by water, and they didn't want things to catch fire, so they kind of isolated the glass blowers, who use, they got to keep their furnaces running 24/7. So I guess as a fire hazard, they secluded them to a place where things wouldn't catch on fire and creates a domino effect, I'm assuming. But as far as why it started in Italy, I don't really know exactly. May have to Google that.
Have to take a look at that. Yeah.
I know. I mean, Murano glass is very collectible and sought after, so I see that a lot. And then I've also heard of Venetian glass, which is a completely different style, obviously. And they have rivers too, so maybe that was part of it also, is they're like, okay, Venice, you've got the canals and everything, so you won't spread it around either. Maybe that was it. They had more waterways.
and what's the basis? And this is a complete ignoramus question, but I'm truly ignorant on this. But what is the basis of glass? And so you're melting down the liquid glass.
Glass is soda, lime, and ash, just a mineral composite that's mixed up, and it looks like kind of a white powdery baking soda substance. That's in the raw material form, and I used to use that stuff when I first started in my first 12 years at my old studio. I would actually buy that raw material, melt it down, and it would go from that powdery baking soda substance that I bought in a 50-pound bag to kind of a bubbly phase overnight, and then throughout one day it would all kind of fine out and get its clarity. But yeah, there's many different ways to make glass as well that can make it hold its heat longer, and you can add certain elements to add color to it, and there's so much chemistry behind it that I don't have to worry about getting into that. People do all that for me. And luckily I just select my colors and base material from a catalog, and that's just I guess one of the advantages of being alive this far along in the glass making process is we can just go online and order what we want, and then we can worry about the creative part of it.
So I say that maybe we go on a little tour, and if folks want to ask some questions, and then as we're moving, as things come up to say, okay, this, that'll prompt, I'm sure, as we're walking by, things to bring up. I'll plug us here, and actually, let me take this off for a moment. All right, guys, we're going to get shaky here a little bit as we're going to go mobile here in Mike's studio. Now, Mike, you have a whole bunch of painting and two-dimensional art here too, which looks like you've been doing it since you probably were a newborn, because it's tight work, and to see it on your walls, and it's really.
Well, that's an interesting transformation as well, because like I said, I didn't get into art until college, and actually even before glass blowing, I took a couple painting classes, but I didn't take it very seriously. I was more into drawing and printmaking, like I said earlier. Took a few painting classes, I enjoyed it, and once I found the glass, that was it. That was my focus. And then most of the paintings here were done within the last 6-7 years. It's just something that I felt I had to do, and I started painting them at home and in the barn at home, and had no place to show them, and they sat there for a long time. Now that I have a studio where I can set up an easel, I can do all that right here. But I don't know, it's just something that's I enjoy doing during the warmer months when I'm not blowing glass, and keeps me busy. I enjoy it.
Yeah, tell us, walk us through. We'll allow you to guide us through your
Well,
your
for people,
space.
first off, people that don't know, glass blowing is a very hot job. You have furnaces and the reheating chamber that is constantly on, and it gets very warm in here. So I don't do the glass blowing during the hot summer months. Most glass blowers actually don't run their studios during the summer, or at least they take off a few months. It's because it's so darn hot day in and day out. My season is usually November through about April. The cold months, obviously, here in Cleveland. And once that's done, I do paintings, whenever I can, and I do a lot of art festivals.
Yep.
I travel around and do art shows and set up and try and sell the stuff within the Midwest here. Yeah, this year there aren't going to be any, obviously, but that's been my routine for the past 17 years or so that I've been doing this.
The majority of your paintings oil?
They're all oil.
All oil.
Yes. Mhm.
Okay.
Wanna what?
Gorgeous.
Yeah, I mean your paintings are wonderful, and so but you were not a painting major. That was and would you say that you're primarily self-taught in that painting area, or that you took?
Yeah, I would definitely say self-taught in that. I mean, like I said, I took some painting classes. I can't say that I retained a whole lot from that, other than that I like oils much better than acrylic. I don't know. Everything I do, I try and do something different with each one, either using different color combinations or different themes. I don't really know if I have a style. I mean, maybe an observer from outside would say I do, but I think they're all very different, and I try to challenge myself with each one that comes along.
How do you think your painting is, or maybe it's not, but do you think your painting is affected by your glass experience in terms of in any?
I would say no, absolutely not. Those two are completely separate and different. I always say that the glass blowing is more physical and the painting is more mental. No doubt about that. And there's actually very little that I could take from one and put into the other. Unless I'm painting pieces of glass.
Yeah.
Even mixing colors, they don't mix the same way in glass as they would in paint. So I can't do color combinations that reflect paintings or vice versa.
Yeah. My observation is you have a really great grasp of light.
Mm-hmm.
And that seems, if I were to glance around, I'm like, whoa, there's this illumination that is going on in your work, and I'm a big fan of that. And you might say, oh yeah, that's my intention, or
well, I think I like to use fiery colors. I like the yellows and
it.
oranges mostly. So I think that's probably what you're getting at, and when you're looking at my work, you're seeing a lot of yellows and oranges. And reds.
Yeah.
And I do like those colors a lot more. Even in glass, I like those colors a lot more. Even though most people love their blues and purples, I'm attracted to the fiery colors, and I can see what you're saying with that.
Yeah, absolutely. You want to walk us through the space?
So right
now,
the
you
showroom where you enter the studio.
Okay.
And that's kind of the retail shop. That's where all the glass is, and some of the paintings are in here.
And when people walk in here, they can purchase, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Retail.
Yep, absolutely.
Now Beth has, what pure transparency here? Beth has a little bit of an addiction issue, and it's glass.
It is.
She has
Stained glass, art glass, American glass.
Tazza Glass.
Tazza
like
Glass.
3 or 4 pieces at least. Maybe
yeah.
more.
I have 2 vases, a perfume bottle, a necklace, at least 2 ornaments. Yeah.
You're not the only one.
So.
It's a thing. There are glass addicts out there, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep.
So we're fans of your
And
work,
I'm
and
proud
and
of
we
it.
Also, we're here for, and
Let's go
also
here first.
for a
Sure.
lesson. Yeah.
Well, and I would say, to help encourage people that we so enjoyed our lesson. You explained the steps and the techniques so nicely, and our daughter Rowan bought us it was a Christmas gift for us, and I would absolutely recommend to anybody to get that lesson with you because you explain it very well.
The way things are, I don't know if that's going to be happening anytime soon.
Next year.
That's one of the most frequent question I get is, do you offer lessons, classes? And right now I have to say no, obviously, because I'm shut down, and plus the COVID thing also. You can't share blowpipes, and which is what you do when you have a lesson. So you're always touching and sharing the same stuff. Unfortunately, I can't do that until we let this pass. But lessons, there's a short window of time when I do that, usually after Christmas, between Christmas and before I shut down in April, when I'm kind of slower. That's usually when I take on my lessons. And it's just call up and ask, and I'm usually not very busy, and just something to keep in mind during the cold months of around here in Cleveland.
So this is your.
This is the gallery room. This is actually this building used to be a drive-through beverage building, and the room we're in right now is a big cooler. You can still see the glass doors on the one side.
Oh yeah.
And there's actually foam on the ceiling and on the walls there. So this was all insulated to keep the beverages ice cold. And now it's my painting gallery. That one is my big project from last summer, the Greek gods.
That's amazing. And I mean, your light and your flames and your smoke just...
I always try to do at least
incredible.
one human figure in everything I paint, and that one was the 12 of them, so that was quite an undertaking. It took about 3 months or so to go through that, and I'm not even sure if it's done now. Like some of these I'm never done. I always go back and retouch stuff and
Take it off the
and
wall.
change things, and that's the one thing about glass is once it's done, you can forget about it, and that's it. No more changes. But with the paintings, I come back to these all the time and change things, or see something I don't like and add a little improvements. It's kind of a sickness, to be honest with you.
Yeah, and I'm sure that many of the creatives who are watching can relate to that as well. But what I'm walking away with is not only seeing some really phenomenal painting talent, but it's also inspirational that you first picked up art and glass in college, and you picked up painting even after that, and to see this work that's primarily self-taught is really inspirational for those folks who are out there saying, am I too old to pick up a brush and give it a whirl?
You're never too old. No, you can start anytime. Absolutely. I don't know. It's you gotta really want to do it though. You gotta find enjoyment in it and want to spend the time. Having that be your hobby or your passion. If you're just kind of I just want to give it a try and just do it one night, then maybe it's not for you. You really have to want it and see yourself, getting better and setting goals.
And to see your skill level in two such, like you said, two completely different art forms is inspiring. And and you're probably right in that you get the physical activity and the socialization and the science and the one and done. You have to finish it. And then on the other side, to be able to have these oil paintings that can take months and months and months and may never fully feel completed, that you have this balance for yourself and that you've achieved the skill level in both of them is really outstanding.
And is that do you think that's accurate? What about the saying, kind of like it, or you have other self-observations there?
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, some of the ones that I've done years ago, I can look at now and say, wow, I could really, improve upon that. I can see where I fell short. And I guess that's all artists, self-critique themselves, and they see that, and hopefully you're growing as well. So, you should see that in your past work. It's some of these I do look at, and I know it's not my best effort, but at the time, I thought it was, pretty darn good. I was happy with it. But you evolve and you move on to new things and have different interests, and you got to learn to let those go or go back and fix them, I guess.
Do you have trouble letting go of this artwork, the paintings? Are these for sale?
They are. I don't really take them anywhere. I don't take them to shows like I do the glass. But yeah, I would probably sell most all of them. They're more my babies than the glass is, because the time that goes into them, and they're all one of a kind. I don't duplicate myself. So that's another factor. Glass, you're making the same thing over and over, and maybe just changing a color here or there, and it becomes kind of repetitious. And I guess part of that's my fault. Being an artist, you're supposed to come up with new stuff and be creative, but there's only so far you can push yourself year in and year out. And I don't know. I like to think I try and keep doing new stuff, but it's baby steps.
Yeah. These paintings are amazing. You want to walk us into your...
Yeah.
Okay. So that's the gallery and showroom, and this is where all the magic happens here in the studio. This is the glass half of it, and all the equipment's off right now, obviously. But we have this unit here. It's just a big kiln, but it's made for us glass blowers, and there's a big ceramic pot in there where I melt the glass, and you can see there's a little bit left in there that's all crackled and left over from the season. And,
so this is where you heat it up, right? Is this for the...
Yeah, I fill this up with clear glass. It holds about 100 pounds of clear molten glass, and this unit here takes about 3 days to heat up to about 2,170 degrees. And once it's up, it stays running for a couple months, and then I'll change out the elements in there and start it up again. But once it's running, it stays at 2,170 degrees, and the glass is molten in there. It's kind of like honey, and that's kind of where it has to stay for it to be worked and taken out of there to be made into stuff. And there's units here for, I've got a burner on that for heating up the pipes and the metal rods that we use. The blow pipes here, they'll sit in this unit here and heat up. And they have to be red hot for the glass to stick to the end, so that's why these things have to be preheated. But all the work making the glass is done between this unit here, which is called the glory hole. And this also gets up to over 2,000 degrees when it's turned on. And the bench here, where you sit down and you roll the pipes and the putties, and you work the glass while you roll. You can do one thing with one hand and shaping it and working it with the other. And it's constant back and forth from the bench to the glory hole to keep it warm and molten and workable. And that's...
So if you had a big Tazza bowl, right? Because you'd be opening and spinning and trying to keep it symmetrical and...
Yeah, you can see the doors open here. So anything I make, it can't be any larger than that there, which is about 10 inches, because then you can't go in and reheat it to heat it up. If you go beyond that, then you have to put it away and be done with it because you can't go back in and keep it warm and keep it working. So yeah, my size limits is 10 inches around by, I don't know, maybe 20 inches deep.
So now you know if you want to custom order something from Mike, those are your limits.
Parameters.
Yeah, 10 inches.
I like it. Amazing. So I mean, to do this interview now almost is better because it would be loud and hot and a little more difficult, maybe.
It would be a little noisier, a
Yeah.
lot of white noise. I don't know if that would go on your camera, but it is a little bit noisier with everything running.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a good job to have in the winter. It keeps me nice and warm. I can be in t-shirts all day and be very comfortable. Even have the garage door open when it's snowing, and you know it's a good winter job. But yeah, day in and day out during the summer, it's just it's a little too much for most people, and
Yeah.
you know I can make a lot of what I need in the few months that I'm running anyway.
That's good.
So you're producing in the winter months, you teach some classes in the winter months, you build up a stock, and then it starts to warm up, and then a traditional year, you be on the road and doing some selling?
Yeah, about every other weekend, you know, from May through October, I'm doing art shows, or would be doing an art show. And yeah, it's kind of fun. Some are better than others, but I enjoy doing it.
Yeah, so what do we got here? Beth is looking at some.
Yeah, I wanted to show you more of the process here of the glass blowing. These are, you know, striped ornaments that I do. They're a little more time-consuming ornaments, and what I do is all those colors that are the stripes there are these like little rods of glass.
Nice.
And I have to make all those too. A lot of people think I just buy those, but I don't. And here, let me walk by you real quick.
Yeah.
So what I do is I buy the color in bar form, like you see here. They're just rods. You break off a chunk about that big. You melt it down, get it all soft, and then you stretch it out to these long, skinny sticks. And then you cut these off of here. And then you have these little sticks, and you lay them out on a steel plate here. That gets preheated, and then you get some clear glass on the blowpipe, and you come over to the plate and you roll over these little sticks. They're called cane, and they stick right to the hot, clear molten glass, and then you melt them in and swirl it, and you can blow out an ornament that looks kind of like that. That would be a white and orange one, obviously, but yeah, those are a little more time consuming. It's a process where I have to make all the color that goes into them. And then, yeah, the pattern right there, right next to it, is something I would use in like a marble like this. This is a 3-inch solid sphere, and they're a little more decorative cane. They're not just straight colors. You know, they're twisted up, and some have, you know, flat and around inside that are twisted up, and there's dichroic glass here and sheet glass that gets
Does that get distracted, like when you're combining the colors and like, do you get caught up in, okay, I've made 14 different colors, now I should, you know, and using the cane, and now I should actually do something with them? Or do you pick specific, like, okay, today's going to be a red, purple, and blue day, and I'm going to see how I feel like
No,
doing that?
I make all the cane maybe one day a week or half a day. I'll make all the cane. And with these thicker ones, the more intricate ones, they get pulled out to be about 15 feet or so in length.
Wow.
And, you know, from there I can make, you know, many other objects, many marbles from that cane pool that I did. So I'm not necessarily using exactly, you know, when I make it. I'm not exactly using it right away to make the next piece that I'm going to do. I actually have a bunch of cane sitting over there that is left over from last season.
Oh, those tall ones?
Yeah. So you can see some of the, I'll make them, and then I'll kind of pick and choose, you know, what looks good together and what I have available. And yeah, there's a bunch of small ones in here as well.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Just to keep the dust off them. I got them in here, and they're smaller chunks, and yeah, I always have them there just to add to
So
if I need one or need certain colors.
Wow. So I could just look at those all day long.
Yeah, it's really hard to describe the glassmaking process without seeing it in action.
Sure.
You know, seeing the molten glass out of the furnace, and then seeing how you pick up the color and how you melt that in and twist it and all that. It's really hard to just talk about it. You actually have to see it being done, and unfortunately, I can't do that right now to show that to you.
But that's, I mean, yeah, that's
Episode 2 later.
Yeah.
Maybe next season we'll do that. And this is a graphite hoop that I cut this out of a piece of graphite and sanded it down. And this is what I use to, you know, shape these to get a nice perfect sphere. You know, sit at the bench, roll the glass, and use this to shape it up into a sphere. And that's actually pretty simple. If you got the right tool, you know, it makes the job a lot easier. And that's how the marbles get done.
Have you custom made many of your own tools or adapted, you know, the trademark glass blowing tools? Are there some that you're like, okay, I get why they want us to use this, but this is the Mike Grau version of it?
There are a few handmade tools, you know, things that I picked up at Goodwill and repurposed, or get graphites and, you know, cut into it and make those. But I would say most of them I buy.
Okay.
I mean, there are certain special needs that I can, you know, make things for. There aren't a whole lot, but I mean, yeah, there's nothing wrong with doing that. And got some stainless steel or graphite, you know, you can manipulate it however you want and find a use for it. Yeah,
That makes
absolutely,
sense.
you can use it.
So that's a whole nother engineering process too.
Well,
Right? Is
yeah,
figure
that's
out
true.
And make your own tools. Show us, as we walked into the to meet this evening, you were working on another painting, and so are you?
I want all this glass.
Should we wait until that's done to show it, or are you?
I don't care if you want to see
All right.
see it in the process. That's fine with me. I've been into Greek mythology lately, so that one was going to be, it is going to be Poseidon on the top and Apollo on the bottom.
Wow.
And yeah, Apollo's getting there. He still has some work to be done, but yeah, that's it's fire and water was the theme for that, and yeah, that's probably about halfway through the process, maybe not even. And yeah, the things that I use this as like a reference for, I wanted to paint him as like a gold painted figure. And I just kind of use that as a reference. This is a great app, by the way. You can, if you want to find out what color to mix, you just go over that color.
Oh, wow.
You click on it, and you can do the whole page, and you just mix your color to match that.
Wow.
I just learned about this last week, actually.
What is it? Is it you said
Really
it's
It's called
That's-
Color Grab.
Color grab.
You
Okay.
can get that for your phone or tablet. You can move the icon wherever you want, like over that highlight there. It's pretty much white. You already know that. But
Yeah.
if you have a hard time seeing what color you need to paint, you know, you click, you roll over it, click on it, and then you can bring up the full screen for.
And that's for which, is that for a specific paint company? Or
No,
just
it's an
the
app called
color?
Color Grab.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
So what you do is you mix the oil right next to the large screen so that you have
Yeah.
that feel
That
if
is
you're
way cool.
working in certain.
Yeah, like I said, I
Families.
just found out about that this week, so I haven't really used that in all my other work.
Yeah,
but,
love it.
But I
love
thought
it.
that was I couldn't really see what was going on there with the gold tones, so I thought, you know, man, I wish they would have an app that you could see what the colors were in a photograph.
And of
they
course
do,
there
so,
was.
yeah,
Look at
so
those
that's,
flames.
that'll help with the process, you know, streamline it a bit.
Good heavens.
I'll tell you what, like you are full of talent, and you've inspired many. You inspire me because I like painting. I need to do more of it, but to find somebody who's mastered it after college is kind of cool. In terms of how do people get? What's the best way to get in contact? You said you had an Etsy storefront, right?
Yes, I have an Etsy storefront. I guess the best way to find me on Etsy is just type in Tazza Glass, and you'll probably see a bunch of ornaments and marbles pop up under my search. That's what I mostly got on there. And yeah, I do all my selling on the internet through Etsy now. I don't have the website anymore, and I've been trying to keep up with Facebook a little bit, but I'm kind of slow to add things and stay on top of that. So I don't know if say to look for me there, but I do have a Facebook page.
And the location here, the address Tazza, T-A-Z-Z-A Glass. We're in North Royalton. This is where your studio and your retail storefront is at. What's is the best way to call to find out if you're here, or do you have regular store hours, or?
This time of year it's by appointments, or if I'm here I'm open. I'm usually here every day, most often from about 10 to 5, except for lunch. But yeah, I try to be here every day. If you see my truck here, I'm open. Otherwise, you can always text or email me and see if I'll be around for an appointment.
Great.
Sounds good.
Excellent.
Are there any questions out there? I know that there's folks watching and probably
Everybody's
enjoying.
pretty much oohing and eyeing and just totally commenting about both the glass and the paintings. Jim Cermak and was talking about would he be able to do glass lessons if the other person wasn't participating? More of an in-depth, up-close demonstration. I would pay for that. So I guess,
watch the process?
Yeah, more of a demo as opposed to a lesson.
I mean, people are always welcome to stop in and watch me work, without really setting an appointment or paying for it. It's going to be what I make that day, though. If you want to see a specific item being made, then maybe we could set something up. Okay. But yeah, my shop is open for people to come on in and watch, and I'm more than happy to answer questions to anybody who wants to stop on in and have an interest in it.
Remember, if you share this between now and next Tuesday, your name will go in a drawing, and we'll draw for a teardrop ornament
in the rainbow glass.
Yeah,
which is
in rainbow
beautiful.
glass, which is Mike's working in. We'll send it out to you. So share that away, and I know Beth is kind of scrolling through. Was there anything else specific or any questions that you have?
Is there anything custom? That you don't do custom as far as the glass work goes? If somebody contacted the Etsy shop, or is it more the colors that is the custom?
Yeah, it's more of a change in colors. Okay. Sometimes I do special custom orders if it's in my wheelhouse or something I can do. Sometimes I can, sometimes I can't. But yeah, typically just changing colors or maybe something in a different shape. Nothing too wild and crazy. I don't do anything sculptural. I don't make birds and letters or anything. So yeah, pretty much a variation of what you see is what I can do.
Which is all fabulous.
And we're big fans of your vase vases as well. You know how to
look at these adorable pumpkins.
Pumpkins.
I have one of these too. Oh no, I got one for Caitlin Turner. That's right. I love these.
Yeah.
I like it all.
Well, we'll walk back here.
Yeah.
And
did you get a shot of that one? That's the most recent one.
Oh,
that was my coronavirus.
Well, this is
stuck here.
It's
huge.
And of course,
stand next to it so they can see the size of that.
Wow, is this your big?
Yeah, that's the biggest canvas I can buy. The 4 foot by 5 foot.
Yeah.
It's beautiful, and the light, your grasp of light is just stunning.
I haven't gotten into making my own canvases yet, but I think that's big enough for right now.
Yeah. Well, Mike, thank you so much for allowing us to rejoin in person, to see what you do, and for us to kind of share a little bit about your journey. Your painting is phenomenal. Your glass is phenomenal, and I'm happy and Beth is happy that we're neighbors because she loves your glass as well. Guys, thank you for joining us this Tuesday. Next Tuesday, we'll announce our next guest. We're going to try to get back out in front and walk through studios and talk with folks. And thanks for being our guest back from this COVID isolation. Thanks, guys, for joining us.
And don't forget to share so you can win one of Mike's ornaments.
All right. Have a great week.